And we are live today again. It's Thursday noon, and this is Toni Weel from not so sunny Florida here and there. Can you believe we actually have tornadoes going on? There was a big one in Clearwater today, and I hear the wind pounding on some stuff outside. But it's interesting weather. I love a good storm as long as there are no damages. But because in the Netherlands, we had many storms, and those were usually the times we took a walk with our two big dogs. That was fun.
Wow.
Okay, we are here again today to answer some with Sara from Virtuous Unicorns, and we missed her. We really missed her last week.
No, thank you.
And so I'm happy she's here today. And I see that an old friend that I haven't seen in a long time here is back on, JP or One. Welcome. Nice to see you again. Yeah, we can take health questions. There haven't been many, and I know a lot of people are asking in the groups, but not on the lives. I'm not quite sure what's stopping people. No, I don't have an email a question. Can you hear my cat?
I can.
Yeah.
Maybe she has some questions.
This is now on my lap. This is Bella. Bella is a tiny 15-year-old screamer.
Aww.
She's a little neurotic. She didn't get attention, and she's like, "It's my time now. Did you forget?"
No.
So, and I
didn't get a chance to tell you, but when we left, it was the second day that we were gone last week that my mom called me and told me that my 19-and-a-half-year-old kitty passed.
Oh,
Like, oh,
yeah.
yeah. That was only the second time I've ever been gone when one of my animals passed away. So, and I
Yeah.
found a lot.
Yeah, it had to be that way then.
Yep, that's the way I said too. And it feels kind of strange coming home and them not being there and then not having the closure of them passing.
That's
So it's kind of like I almost have like a guilt, but at the same time I'm like super happy that she did pass on because I believe she's with her brothers and sisters, stuff like that. But in that she's a young kitten again, but there is that guilt of not being there. So, but
yes, we are very good at creating some kind of guilt always, because every time a cat year passed, and I had a cat rescue and then a cat sanctuary, and over the years many cats passed, and every time I felt guilty and wondering what could I have done different so they could live longer.
yeah,
It's yeah, and they go when it is time, but yeah, as long as we do what we need to do, whatever is best for them.
absolutely.
It's and 19 and a half, it's a good age for a cat, and I'm sure he had a happy life where you are and with you.
They have their own home, so
Yeah, it's see, I have my cats inside, so if one is gone, it's like everything, the whole energy in the house changed.
It does.
It's and the last cat that went was, and she had been sick for a while, but when she was gone, it was like, oh my gosh, this is so different now. Everything's different.
Yeah,
And I don't even want to think about these cats, especially not this screamer. I mean, I would definitely miss her screams. Although sometimes we tell her, "Can you be quiet?" But she's only quiet like now when she's on my lap and loudly purring.
No.
She's a little neurotic.
There definitely are fur babies, and we can learn so much from them.
Yeah, and you know what we noticed, I have well, you could say it's one of my colleagues. He has been on the podcast a few times. Magdalena White, and she's an iridologist and also a detox specialist, counselor. And she had her own food line on Maui, and she had to leave Maui because of all the fires.
Mm-hmm.
And she's living here now. And she still had to, detox the trauma of the fires there. I mean, if you have to leave everything behind, that's very traumatic. You have a life built there.
Now, is
And,
she still here? Or
I'm sorry?
is she still here? Or has she returned back?
No, she's here.
Okay.
She's
Um,
here in my house in my brand new retreat
oh,
room.
oh, wonderful. Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
But she got sick. I was still in the story about the cat. So, but she felt sick, and she was sitting here with me, and Bella, this little screamer here, she was on her lap and quiet as she could be to comfort her.
Mm,
So this is what our animals do, and sometimes we don't even realize that.
yeah.
They're little healers for us.
Yeah. Their frequency, their purr of their frequency.
Yeah, yeah.
No, that's
So
wonderful.
it is it's very interesting. And in the meantime, I got on the different screen. So if there are any questions, I haven't seen them, or any comments, or whoever. Okay, so I see that Grant is in here too. Grant, how can you ever forget Thursday at noon? Well, it's probably 11 for him. So,
Yes.
oh, the craving for beans. I'm eating a lot of kidney beans. Oh, I wouldn't.
Mm,
Beans have a lot. First of all, they need to be cooked, soaked and cooked. And are they delicious? Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I love refried beans.
mm-hmm.
Spiced up. Are they any good? No, absolutely not. They're way too high in what is it, in proteins. We don't need that. If you want to say so, okay, once in a while, maybe. Okay, but that is the once in a while. And I have to say, I had a really bad time after I first immigrated here financially, and after a divorce then, and I just didn't have any money. And the grocery store had these absolutely delicious beans for like chili beans for 79 cents. That was a whole meal. I lived on that. My body did not say thank you. Absolutely not. Because that was in the same time after I had those immigration vaccinations, and that with a bad diet and a lot of stress. It was like my health went downhill so fast.
Mm-hmm.
That was so yeah. Beans are not on a healthy menu, and I would say one refer to the mucusless diet list, and you will see what they do, how mucus forming they are.
Yep. I was gonna say they're on the list. So
Yeah,
mm,
and it's like I cannot tell people what you eat. You eat certain things that you absolutely love. You sometimes you wonder where the heck are the cravings come from. I sometimes have a craving for a pizza, and then it's like, and I'm eating it, and it's like, it doesn't even taste so good. And afterwards, I have the bloating and tired and thirsty. That's one
yeah.
thing. You're thirsty and so dehydrating. And then you wonder, why did you actually eat it? Was there really a craving? What is this craving? It's like, we're not really hungry. We don't eat it because we're hungry. When I was young, I didn't even know the word craving. I sometimes wonder if there is a translation for it in Dutch, what it would be. Ingrid, do you know that what craving is in Dutch? Yeah, sin hebben in. But it is, how important is a craving? Do we have to give into that? What do you think?
They could also be, beans are a comfort food. I don't know where Juan is right now, but we're going into fall. The temperatures are changing. A lot of us start thinking of chili and just comfort kind of foods that bring in with the season as well too. So it could just be psychological as well.
Yeah, and Ingrid responded back, lekkere trek. That means that you feel like eating something because of a taste. But if it is something specific, is it a taste? Is our body asking for something? Is it a mental thing? And yeah, it's like it's not hungry. It doesn't have anything with hunger. If you say like I bruised my rib last Friday, I think the cravings, the beans because I'm healing. No, don't justify it.
Yeah, remember your eye injury and you were on fruit during that time.
Yeah, you know what to do. We actually heard of somebody who broke a bone, and that was when I was in classes with Dr. Morse, and he talked about that, and that the bone was healing so fast that the doctors were the person wasn't all fruit. The doctors were like puzzled. How is that even possible? So any trauma to your body in a bruise is definitely a trauma. Then you have to be on all fruit. And if it's worse trauma, you fast. Fasting is the fastest healing. And
Mhm.
it's not that the fruit that heals, it's like everything that you leave out. So in food, so that your body can focus on all the energy goes to the healing and not to digesting. And
Mhm.
beans are so hard to digest.
They
So
are.
no
That's why
beans,
they, yeah,
yeah,
and
no
they kind of
beans.
come out quickly too. Sometimes your body's just like, send them right on through.
Yeah, yeah. Lisa asked, is Iris gel ready to use just as good as dried you soak and blend by hand? I don't know. I have Iris Moss in capsules. So that means when it is in a capsule, it means that the Iris Moss had to be dried and then pulverized and then put it in a capsule. I don't know if it was soaked, if it was washed, soaked, etc. I don't know how they do that. I do have the gel, and I was actually talking about the Irish moss with Magdalena a few days ago, and she said you have to use fresh. And I know it is more work, but I can see why. Because at any time we buy something in a jar or something in a capsule, it is processed and we don't know what's been done to it.
Mhm.
So you can do both. You can try it out. I do have the gel. I have the capsules, and I have the Irish moss in a yeah, fresh. It's actually dried Irish moss. And the interesting thing, I have a client he's in Jamaica, and it's their business. They what is it? Grow? Well, it grows anyway. But they get the Irish moss and then sell it. And he asked me if I was interested in buying and selling it here, and I was like, how the heck am I going to do that? So if anybody is interested in Irish moss from Jamaica, let me know. I'll tell him.
Oh, that's interesting. No, I remember when I, going back to the broken bones and stuff like that, I remember when putting it all together, finally, like when I really like thought it through that, I mean, I think most people, like when you get a broken bone, you don't realize kind of like what happens while you're in the cast and everything. And sometimes, depending on what bone it is, they do go in and set it. They put screws in, things like that, where they will hold the bone just in place so it can grow back to itself. But at the same time, it is your body regrowing that bone or that bone growing together again. In the surgeries, go in, they can repair the tendons, they can't, I shouldn't say they repair it. Your body still repairs it, but they line it up or stitch it together or screw it together so that your body then can just regenerate itself and close that, crack or put the scar tissue on it or anything like that. Like our bodies are always regenerating. So if we can regenerate when the doctor even puts stitches like on your skin will regenerate back over. Your bone will start to fuse itself back together again after a break. Your ligaments and tendons and even nerve endings will heal after this stuff. So if all that can happen, why can't we regenerate and heal from sicknesses and illnesses as well too? And I very specifically remembering when I had that aha moment of like, oh my gosh, like I never thought about it that way. Like you think, oh, you go in for surgery, the doctor fixes the bone. They put the cast on. Yeah, they put the cast on and allow the bone to heal, to regrow is what happens. And I think most people just don't think beyond that point. And I really specifically remember, like I said, having that aha moment of how it really happens.
And so we have a lot of aha moments
We sure do.
constantly. You see, and yeah, we do know and accept that we are always healing.
Yes.
But still, if we have something like what you mentioned, you go to the doctor and you think they do the work. They
Yeah.
don't. It's what Dr. Morse said, the ER is absolutely great for the broken bones and that kind of thing. But other health-wise, I don't go there.
And if you're bleeding out or, something sticking out of your body, 100%, like they're fantastic at that stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I still have a soft spot for I know a bunch of doctors, and it's just some of them do realize, some of them are starting to wake up, and they are starting to, things are not making sense, but their practices are where they're waiting on somebody every 10 minutes. They have drug reps there in their face. They have all these insurance. They have all this stuff they're going through all the time. So it's like they don't even have the time to sit down and ponder and really think. Most of them are just going through the motions of it. I think it's the same as like if somebody wants to be a political figure, they're like, I'm going to go in and make a change. And they go in with this great heart, but there's all this red tape and they can't do anything. And then they start getting beaten down by the system. And then they just have to start going through all the motions as well too. Even if they are still trying to do something good, it's like they have to take one step forward and take 50 steps back before they can do anything. And I think that a lot of our doctors do have good hearts and they really do want to do well, but they don't have the time to be educated in the ways that we, are or know, until like maybe they go into retirement or something changes. But a lot of these new doctors starting out, especially, they're just so like focused on what they've been taught.
Yeah, and I just had an comments in the fans group about it's easier to learn than to unlearn.
Mm-hmm.
And but I have an example of the only doctors I've been to here in the US. They were MDs, but also naturopath, holistic doctors, and they took their time. They took easily 30 minutes for you. Did they really listen? No, they
Mm-mm.
still had their screen in front of them, filling out your symptoms. And then once they go on next, when they filled everything out, they get a list with pharmaceuticals.
Yep.
And they were still prescribing the pharmaceuticals. So it is like, yeah.
My naturopath, I would leave her office with almost $300 worth of herbs. And she used to have her office in the basement of her home. And it was a very nice home. She had a nice family. But her husband would be upstairs cooking meat and fish. And they talk about like, oh, drink whole milk, not skim milk. And I'm like, okay, so I'm still eating all this acid forming foods, but I'm supposed to combat it with these herbs? Like, herbs are little miracles, but I don't think they're that much of a miracle when you're just completely on your standard American diet.
Yeah,
Well.
I have to say, I've always been into herbs And I've done a variety of diet from very healthy, well, that's what I thought back then, like macrobiotic, lots of beans and grains, to not so healthy like Atkins and keto. But I always used herbs. I was always into herbs. Can I say that I ever had a positive response to it, like a healing response? Absolutely never. And that was it's not because of the herbs, it was because of what I was eating.
Yeah.
So it was the same with all the vitamins and the minerals. It was just throwing away money.
Yeah.
And
I'm
we
the
still
same way
do
with
that.
vitamins. Yeah.
Right. And it's we don't realize now that that whole vitamin and mineral industry is exactly the same as the whole pharmaceutical industry, who actually owns all the so-called alternatives. All these companies have been taken over. So can we, buy an herbal encyclopedia, which I do have, and just look it up yourself? But still, I feel it's no use if you don't change your diet. But we have to admit, isn't it so much easier to just pop a pill? Even, it's herbs, so you would say, okay, it won't hurt. But nothing is happening if you still eat all the foods that are mucus forming and acidic.
Yeah.
So it is just a waste. If somebody is, we got to talk to people who just starting out. They learned about Dr. Morse. They don't know much, but they want to start with the detox and the herbs right away. Well, if we can show people, what is the best thing to eat, and even when they're transitioning, absolutely start with the herbs. But if you are like, no, I would just want to eat my same old food, then please do not waste any money on vitamins, minerals, and herbs.
Yeah.
So not even the herbs, and definitely not the other things.
Yeah.
And there's always so much talk about the mineral. You must have seen that too. We started talking again about the depleted soil. The soil is not depleted. The soil is toxic. It's not depleted. It's just toxic because of all the stuff that is in there. I think the soil fights the toxicity just as much as our bodies do.
Yeah.
It's like when you think about it, wouldn't a tree hold the fruit if it doesn't get any food? I mean, no, it wasn't. It would just wilter away. It wouldn't be there after a while. So why are these trees and bushes giving you all this beautiful fruit? Did the taste change? Yes, absolutely it did. But I think that's more of the toxicity that was in the soil than the depletion of minerals of minerals specifically.
Mm-hmm. And you learn a lot about that in permaculture too. It's not just our soils for growing gardens and stuff. I mean, even what we've done to our lawns, we don't have the correct grass. We've been lied to about that. I have to look up it in a book, but we're missing at least like 2 layers of soil. Like every person is missing 2 layers of soil unless you have gone in and repaired it. But your average yard, the soil, you're missing like 2 layers of your soil, and we're on I don't want to say because I don't really know it without looking, but it's to the point where the soil can't even absorb nutrients, and it can't absorb water either. That's why when you first water your lawn, the water just kind of like runs off. It doesn't even go in.
Yeah, but see what we do with even when we're growing things, the leaves fall, and right away we need to get rid of the leaves.
Yeah, rake them up and go.
Yeah, and it's meant to be there. It's meant to be on that grass or on your plants. It's because it is food. We did learn that how it works in the forest, and there we accept it, but we don't accept it in our own yards because it has to look clean.
Yeah.
And we go for the grasses. But going back to that because one mentioned that again, here there's not enough minerals and vitamins in the ground anymore. Yeah, but now who brought that out? isn't there a whole industry of selling stuff? Isn't there? They're now selling soil, fulvic acid, comes out of the soil in a very healthy area. I forgot what country it is in, not here. And that soil is so healthy, now you have to take that. No, the fulvic acid is plant food. And we cannot take a shortcut. And I'm amazed, and they give credit for that stuff, like it heals everything. From everything under the sun can be healed by fulvic acid. And I admit, when I keep reading that, and I'm like, oh my God, what if? But then logic kicks in, and it's like, no, this is not how it should be. We eat the plants, and we can feed the plants, because the whole ecosystem is so disrupted. Even in my yard, if I leave the leaves on the grass for as food for my mango and banana and guava and what other trees do I have, HOA is going to be very upset. So you can't. I try as long as I can. Oh my, Juan, haven't you listened to us? Visit her to take supplements. Well, what kind of supplement? Is it a supplement? It's a vitamin, a mineral. Supplements is isolated chemistry. Just think about it. If it's not the whole food, then it is not food. I mean, it's not the plant, then a supplement is never the food. It is part of what a food was, and I still puzzle that, okay, this is the vitamin A from that particular food. They take the vitamin A and now put it in a pill, and now you get your vitamin A. It never made sense to me, but I admitted it before. I probably took over, well, $500 a month in supplements. So no to supplements. It actually hurts your body more than it helps, because if it is a foreign substance, now the body has to figure out how to get rid of it, and that's all it does. It gets rid of it. It's not being used.
How expensive do you like your urine?
Yeah.
I mean, that's always been my opinion. It's just expensive urine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is such a waste of money, and when we realize it is certain foods that we need, and but if it is for healing, I always go with fasting. Fasting is just the way. Isn't that interesting? Fasting and fast, fast as in speed.
Yeah.
I've never thought of that before.
Well,
Fast
here we
is
are,
really
another aha moment.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Oh, yes. And also too, I mean, remember, I know, like it says in the Bible, we're not supposed to toil in the soil. That can mean it in a bunch of different ways. But yes, we are supposed to have some grains, but most of our stuff come from, we're reaching up to heaven, up to God. We're reaching for the mango, because that's where man goes. We're reaching up for our fruits from the trees in the forest. And if the tree's growing fruit, then it has what it needs to produce that fruit. Where you see a lot of the fruit trees where maybe the apple's not as sweet, or it's not as good as an apple, it's because there's too many apples on the tree. Like, they do need to be taken off and taken care of, at least the ones that we have what's it called, like gene splicing, and make them grow that way. They produce a whole bunch of apples, whereas maybe back in the day, which I don't know how many generations ago it would have been, the apple tree wouldn't have needed any kind of maintenance or anything like that. But our apple trees we have nowadays, they do need the maintenance. You do have to take off a lot of the apples in order for the tree to be able to produce good apples, good tasting sweet apples. You can't just let our nowadays apple trees go wild. They have to be maintained. it's like the sheep we have nowadays. The sheep way back in the day, they didn't just grow wool until they died. Like they die from growing wool. I mean, it just never stops growing now. Or back then it would stop growing, and now it will never stop growing. The sheep will just, the wool will continue to grow. That's why they have to be sheared all the time. The same thing with our trees. They will overproduce the fruit with what we've done now.
I didn't know that. In the 80s in my house in the Netherlands, I planted an apple tree and a pear tree. And the apple tree, and Ingrid knows what kind of apple it is. It's a Goudrenet. And it's absolutely great for juice and applesauce. But it was very common wherever I lived, we had that kind of a tree. But I planted it there and it got really big, and so many apples that I couldn't even use them. So when they fell off in the winter time, the ducks ate them.
Mhm.
So we had a lot of ducks there. The ducks there, well, it was usually about 30 to 40 ducks. They loved my garden.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
But yeah, I didn't know that. I wondered if that is the same with my mango tree. I have this one branch that is really low to the ground,
Mhm.
and it's kind of big, and I probably have to cut it off, and I hate doing that.
Yeah. I mean, maybe try not cutting off the branch, but taking some of the fruit off. Like when you first see the fruit. So for an apple tree, when you first see the fruit come on, you're supposed to take your hand and spread it out as wide as you can. And there should only be, the apples should not be touching. And any of the ones that are touching, then you should take those apples off and discard them and not let them come to fruit. And it might be the same with mangoes, but I'm not as familiar with mango trees.
Well, I never knew how how they grew on a tree, but it's like they hang on a big like a thread.
Mhm.
And it was very interesting to see that. I've never seen that before. And apparently the avocado grows the same way. Only my avocado refuses to have any fruit.
Yeah.
6 years in, it does not want to give me fruit. It
Oh.
knows it's not good for me.
Oh,
Hi, Dave.
yes.
Dave is there
Yeah,
too.
almost.
Yeah, our healthy fam. We do our best.
Well, there was a topic I wanted to bring up, and it can still just be a short topic, but I know months ago it's been when Katie brought up a question about brushing our hair. And I had stated that I have a wooden hairbrush, but it does have plastic and rubber involved in it, like the teeth are plastic. And I would use that to distribute any of the oils throughout my hair. Well, in the last 2 weeks, we bought a wooden comb, like a real wooden comb. And I've been using that. And the difference in my hair, I don't want to say night and day. I have very thick, strong hair, long, stuff like that. But brushing it with a wooden comb, I absolutely love it. Like I can't even begin to describe. One, there's no static whatsoever anymore. And my hair doesn't have like I guess the little bits of frizz at the end would be from the plastic bristles going through your hair. Maybe they were creating electricity of some sort, but I just didn't feel the static. No longer there. And I feel like the oils in my hair are distributed very well, but I don't have very oily hair anyway, but it feels really good on my scalp. And I really want to brush my hair more often with this wooden comb than I ever did with my hairbrush.
Oh,
Yes. And I actually looked into it a little bit further too. I mean, we're electrical beings, that the wooden comb was used, I guess, more frequently back in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, even with combs that were made of like the horns of animals and stuff like that, where we always used more natural products. And then in the more recent years or decades, we have transitioned over to plastic and rubber. And in the 70s and 80s, I don't know what brand it was, but it seemed like everybody had this brush. It was a plastic handle. It had kind of like the red rubber on the inside and always had like the white bristles. And it seemed like everybody had that. And from that point on, I think most people were using plastic and rubber hairbrushes.
Well, a lot has changed after, in the 40s, 50s. It's like more plastics.
Mm-hmm.
When I look at it now, I always loved wooden floors, but it has its downsides. So what kind of floor do we have now? We have a vinyl floor. It looks beautiful, and they made it look like wood, but it's plastic.
Yeah.
So when you think about it, it cannot really be good.
Yeah.
And in my office, I have a concrete floor. On unpainted concrete, you can still ground.
Yes, you can.
But in my office, the concrete is made look like it is wooden planks. Looks absolutely gorgeous, but it's painted. So when we want to do everything perfect, it may not always be so practical, because with cats and spills, I don't want to have a wooden floor.
Yeah.
But if you look at the wooden floors in these old houses, they can be sanded, they can be, made look nice again. It's like they never go bad, unless you live in a super humid environment like you have here in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it's yeah. I haven't really looked into the frequency of wood, how that would be in a house. That would be interesting to do some research.
Mm-hmm. And I'm a fan of wooden floors, especially any kind of reclaimed wooden floors. We have hardwood throughout our home, and but yeah, we do use vinyl in the cat house because it's easier to clean up. But
If a cat has one pee spill on your wooden floor
or concrete.
or concrete,
Yeah, concrete's very porous.
yeah. Well, right now my floor is not porous anymore. There's a layer on it that you can spill oil and you just wipe it up. So is it that healthy? We want to have things practical and working for us, but when you look at how healthy it is, probably not.
Yeah.
I bought for this because my office is in a sunroom, so I bought these big curtains to keep the heat out, the sun out. What are they made of? Synthetic materials.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they're practical.
I mean, the other part of it is too, is we do have to do the best as what we have available to us. I mean, if you go and price the price of linen, I mean, how many people can have linen curtains, linen sheets, linen clothes, linen, everything? You'd be thousands of dollars in. At the same time, you make the argument of saying, well, it's our health, but we just have to do with the best with what we have available to us. Really.
Yeah, although they say that you cannot put a price on health.
No, you can't.
And look at how much money that people are paying for health insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And then extra again, whatever is not covered. So it's not easy. I think if I would have been, when I was 17, 18, I was all about natural stuff, no chemicals. And that we're talking about early 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 70s, early 70s. And so it's like we were working on it already, and then you get away from it. You have kids, your life changes, you have your business, and
You get distracted.
yeah, we get more into the practical part, and then you get older and you realize your health is not so great. So let's go back. Let's go back what we should have done in the first place. And now it's much harder because we've been used to all the convenience.
Yes.
Now here's the thing, and actually it has nothing to do with health, although maybe a little. Having a car, all the cars from I think from 80 on have a lot of electronics in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it is Wi-Fi, everything. It's in your house too. But now if you look at the price of a new car, $40,000 easily. Now, suppose that you could buy a car from the 50s. I love 50s cars, by the way.
Mhm.
And it would be completely restored, like it is a new car. I think it would actually be better for our health.
Yeah,
See,
I
we,
agree.
we we were debating this. Shall we do this or shall we do that when our car, needs replacement?
I'm looking at a 1967 Chevy Impala.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Very nice.
Yeah, I had a 58 Buick.
Yeah,
That's what Willem sold it when he came over to here. But
that's
yeah,
really
it's but it is, but you don't have all the conveniences then,
yeah.
and we got used to that. And I think that is in our lifestyle too. If it is a soap you use, the in the bath in your bath or for dishes or laundry, it's when you look into it, it's not that easy to find something that does the work, although I absolutely believe you can just wash whatever with water only. It's like Dr. Morse said, water is the how does he say that? The ah, now I forgot what it this morning it was still on my mind. It's the natural, well, never mind, I forgot.
Well, speaking of laundry soap, that was the other thing that I'd forgot about. I wanted to bring up too. I saw a video where the lady was using, she called them horse chestnuts, but I think they're just chestnuts. Or they are hazelnuts, one or the other. We call them buckeyes in Ohio. But you can take those and you can crush them down, pour hot water over them, let them sit, and then use them in your laundry. That's laundry soap.
Okay. Is
Yeah.
that something similar to those soap
Soap
things?
nuts. Yeah. Well, with the buckeyes or the horse chestnuts, you do have to peel the peel off of them, otherwise they will ruin your light colored clothes.
Okay.
So you definitely want to do that. And then you even can like water it down too. So I was on the hunt for some of them, and the ones I found were not the right ones. So my friend has a buckeye tree. I'm gonna go there and pick some up and make some and see how it turns out.
What is a buckeye? I've never heard of that.
Um, I don't know the real name of them, but I think they're chestnuts. Hazel. I think they're chestnuts. Let me look it up. Because in Ohio, the way everybody talks in Ohio, it's correct. We don't know any real terminology.
Oh, I know what I was going to say about what Dr. Moore says about water. It's a universal solvent.
Okay. Yep. What is a buckeye? I don't know. It even says that it's a buckeye. I don't know, but it's like a nut and it has a brown shell to it with like a little white top on it. We used to always make it for Christmas where you'd have peanut butter and you dip it into chocolate and you leave a little bit of the top on it and it'd be brown. Those were called buckeyes. But from what I know, you cannot eat a buckeye. I think they're poisonous,
Oh,
like in
okay.
real life. Yeah.
I see I see a question here from Jay Free, and he is like, I decided to break my fast with apple cider. Oy. Okay, apple cider is fermented apple juice. We don't want fermented in our body.
Not for
So,
fast breaking. I mean, I'll drink apple cider here and there. I do not drink apple cider, I should say. But not for fast breaking. I definitely wouldn't use apple cider as a to
no,
break
it
a
just,
fast.
you
Apple
know,
juice. There you go.
but I can see when you mentioned the way you're living now, enjoying the fan life, you don't have all the tools that we in our house right now have. Although I think if I go camping, my juicer goes with me. I've already set up my little RV for just be able to do that. It would have the juicer, it would have the blender, and the distiller.
Mhm.
But yeah, if you sometimes when you buy something at the stores, then go for the Concord organic Concord grape juice.
Yeah.
That is the only one in a bottle that I would say it's not too bad. Just, enjoy that.
Mm.
And there are two brands, and of course now I cannot remember any of them. And it has to be the real juice, not from concentrate.
It's not Welch's. It's I think of what it is either. No, it's
Why
not
are they?
fermented, it's just filtered. So I don't know if that would be called apple cider then. It might just be fresh apple juice, but they might be calling it apple cider. I saw the guy running a whole bunch of apples through something too, and he said he was making cider.
Okay, it's just
So
apple juice.
maybe they're just using it in a different way, but yeah, most cider is like it'll turn to, I mean, I think apple juice will even fresh apple juice will turn to alcohol eventually because it's fermented.
Oh, it got
So I mean,
got
if you're
pretty
drinking it
small.
super fresh, you might just be on the edge of where it is still juice.
Yeah, the problem usually with the bottled juices is that it is pasteurized. But if you can find anywhere where because the health food store here in town or nearby town, they make the juices every day fresh.
Mhm.
So yeah, then you can buy it in a bottle. It's not pasteurized or anything.
Yeah, that's good.
And
Yeah,
and
I mean,
filtered. What are they filtering out? I don't know. You
mm,
mentioned the juice is filtered.
maybe the seed and just the flesh of the apple. But I mean, Juan, you've been on this journey for a while now too. I mean, if you're just out, sampling things here and there and stuff like that, then you know what you're doing. But if I were in a detox, I wouldn't be doing that, and I wouldn't use that to break a fast if it had went to cider. But
Yeah,
other than that, I mean, it's a little bit of fermentation. You might have some burps and you might have some gas discomfort, but that will pass.
yeah, it's usually when you break a fast, do it with juicy fruits.
Mhm.
Watermelon, mango can even be very juicy. Don't use a
Cantaloupe.
banana, but
Cantaloupe. I think
yeah,
watermelon is the best to break it with, though.
yeah. I was
Mm.
actually surprised because the seeded watermelons were no longer available now. So I got two. I had some mini organic watermelons, bad taste.
Mm.
And I had two larger non-organic, seedless, so seedless watermelons, and the taste was delicious.
Huh.
So,
I don't know.
oh, great. That's good. Yeah, you get them fresh at a fruit stand. Well, that's good.
Yeah. There
That
was
is
another thing
absolutely
too
great.
that Bill Gates is starting, I believe down in Cincinnati, he's starting the appeal, I think is what it is, with the
Yeah,
coating. They're starting with the Kroger brand. And then I mean Kroger owns like Publix. Um I can't remember all the names of the
Kroger owns
different.
Publix. Are you sure about that? I'm not so
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. They own Publix, they own a whole bunch of them. Let me look at the Kroger family brand. But they are starting with the Kroger family. Kroger,
Oh, it is already in on a lot of the fruit. It's on I've seen it on avocados, I've seen it on oranges.
and
They're
Costco.
organic ones.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, it's not easy.
It would be best to go to farmers markets and talk to your farmer and get to know them.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's see. I thought Publix was one of them. I don't know, but also in Costco, they're going to be doing it too.
And that is where I do buy fruit.
Yeah, a lot of us too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it's like you always say, we do the best we can.
Mm-hmm.
I just heard, and Ingrid may know more about it, was in an article that the Netherlands is one of the countries where GMO produce is no longer allowed.
Hmm.
It's one of a few European countries.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm not finding Publix on here, just to go back to that, but King Scooper is another one of them too.
Publix is actually from my area here,
Okay.
and
I thought that was Florida.
yeah, they started here in Lakeland. That was where their first store was.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just reading it. Publix is not owned by Kroger. They
Okay.
exist
Good.
as separate entities.
No,
Well,
well,
phew, that was
Kroger does own a whole bunch of different entities too. So that's where the
yeah.
appeal is starting, and Costco. It's gonna be one of the biggest launches of it, even though it has already been out, but they're gonna be doing that there. Wonderful
Yeah,
news.
it is a sad thing how a lot of the big companies take over the smaller ones,
Mm-hmm.
and the smaller ones have no. That's the only thing they can do, because otherwise they have to choose either selling it or go bankrupt.
Yeah.
Well, I think if I was at a point, if I had a business, and it could be like a food or herbal business, and there was no other choice than to go down, I would go down. I would not sell. I
No,
mean,
I wouldn't either.
I could not.
The same thing with the farms. I mean, we watch farmers sell their properties all the time, and nope, I I will live and die on my land.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the way I look at it. Um, there, Juan's asking, what is Bill Gates coding? It's the fruits and vegetables with a peel, and I forget what it was, but it was like cockroach stuff and everything. It's supposed to preserve our fruits longer so that we have less food waste.
That's the idea. And it does
Mhm.
not, it's not only on the outside, it goes in the fruit, and you cannot wash it off.
Mm-hmm.
So now you can think about how bad cockroaches or whatever, but they say it's 100% natural. They have a beautiful website explaining all about how good it is, and for us.
Oh, you mean marketing?
Yeah, that's all that marketing BS. And someone that made who well, she made a beautiful on a website, a very great informative article about this. And of course, I have about 100 pages open. Let me see if I can find her. If anyone wants to read that article, I had posted it on Facebook in the Garden of Eden group about a peel. And
Remember that.
yeah, you can find it if you go to Garden of Eden on Facebook. It's Garden of Eden, then space.social, but Garden of Eden, I think you'll find it. And you just do a search on a peel, then you will find that article. I know I put it there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like, are we going to ignore that? It's like we say we do the best we can, but when you come to a point that there is nothing else, and that is what you have to eat, I think there's always something else. There will always be farmers who won't go with that.
Yeah. It's just they're
Yeah.
making it harder and harder.
They're just making it harder, but maybe that is what we need. That is maybe because for us to realize what is important in life. We
Mhm.
waste so much time on things that are futile, that are not important at all. So, then let's use a little more time to find the right foods for us.
Yeah.
Because I've been living here in this area now for 20 years, and I have to admit, I know very few farmers. I've been at one, because he's always on the farmer's market, but he's not as much into fruit as he is in all kinds of vegetables.
Mhm.
And the ones that had a mango farm, a big one, are about 2 hours away from here, so you don't go there that often. But it is possible. There are usually within, an hour driving range, you can find some farmers, and I wish more people would do that. I live in this retirement community, and I found out there are actually quite a few people who have fruit trees. And often they have more fruit than they can handle.
Mhm.
So, why not buy it from them? And, go to your neighbor or whoever you see that have fruit trees, because they are not being sprayed. They don't do that. I
Yeah.
think, I hope, but you can ask. but that we get some kind of a system where, people grow something, because my trees are not at a point that they have more fruit than I can eat. Because I would, if I live on mangoes, 3, 4, 5 mangoes a day easily. Well, my next year, I hope my tree has at least 50 fruits, and that would
Mhm.
be quite a bit for, a small tree as it is.
Right.
It's only 3 years old.
Yeah.
So it's but yeah, there are options, and we just have to think outside the box, I think, forget about all the grocery stores and what they offer, and how bad things are going to be. There will be more people who start growing things that are not you know uh, yeah,
Mhm.
toxic enough, or have, toxic substances on it, even though they say how safe it is. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And Grant did post in here a clarification. It does sound like Juan was doing fresh cold pressed apple juice, not cider. So yes, definitely that would have been something good to break your fast with.
Yeah, and you know what about we're talking about cockroaches, but they are crickets in certain foods. Now, those are the foods that we, of course, do not eat. Processed foods, and it's on the label, and it actually says cricket flour.
Oh, geez. That sounds gross.
My gosh, chocolate covered ants.
Oh, man.
I don't know, Juan. I don't know where you live, but that's we didn't experience that.
Yeah, I know. People eat all kinds of stuff, don't they?
Yeah, Ingrid, that can be a problem when you don't have transportation. It's the same here. Everything you cannot get anywhere without transportation. Now, I live in a very small town, and at the, well, the, like you'd say, the edge of the town, and it would be maybe 3 miles is the center, and that's where the grocery stores are too. So you could easily do that. You could do that walking. You could do that bicycling.
And don't
But
forget about there's CSAs as well too. And some of the CSAs will deliver to you. I mean, I'm not sure what they do in your area, but don't forget to kind of look into CSAs. However, a
yeah,
lot of CSAs will be your vegetables.
right. She's in the Netherlands,
Yes. So I'm
and
not sure what's over there.
yeah, I don't think that delivery is really a big thing there yet. Here you can get anything delivered. It's but maybe, you have but then you need a card again, Ingrid. You can make a business out of it. Deliver the good food to people.
Hmm. I mean, people get rental trucks, like they'll go to some of the rental places like Hertz Budget or whatever and get those trucks, and then they drive around and do all the deliveries, and then they take the truck back. I don't know, but again, I don't know how things are set up in the Netherlands. Just some ideas.
Yeah. I hope you didn't get to, I don't know if they do that in the Netherlands yet. I'm not up to date much with what's going on there, the 15-minute cities. But yeah,
Yeah.
what is CSA, Sarah?
Um, of course they ask me those questions. I just know that you can go to your farm, you could be a member of the CSA, and usually you will have to contribute some of your time by volunteering, and then you can get free food that way. But there's also options where you can pay. Let me look it up and see if I can figure out what it stands for.
C
CSA.
could stand for community.
Yeah, it might be that. Community standard or so, I don't know. Nothing's coming up. CSA definition. Canadian, no. Community supported agricultural. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yep. So we have a couple in our area where you can go and work. You put in so much time and then you get so much vegetables and fruit in return. They even have an option where you can they have cow and lamb and stuff like that too. But they definitely have just pure vegetable. It's usually a vegetable, honey, and fruit mix that you can sign up for, and you just have to go and work the land. So,
Yeah,
but also pay.
I see Monique is here too, and she probably knows way more about that from where she lives. If there is some area or some association where you can where people just bring the food, like community thing, like you see here. I can sign up for so much fruit in a I think it's for every week. They bring that every week, and I pay a certain amount, and then they bring whatever is available.
Mm-hmm.
That should be an option in the Netherlands too.
Yeah.
Well, Monique, if you know about that, then please do share it with us or share it with me so we can talk about it next week. We have to figure out how we can make things work, if and not the way it has been, like it is now, because we are so dependent on the grocery stores. I mean, with what is going on in the world now, with well, you could say the wars, it has not been on our doorstep, but it could be. And I'm not saying that, to instill fear, but we should at least be somewhat prepared. It's like, okay, if we cannot, we've seen that already with COVID, or here with a hurricane, that stores just didn't have anything. Although the funny thing was that the produce was always available. People did not stock up on produce at all, but more on canned food.
Yeah.
And healthy canned food is those two things don't go together. Those two words, three words.
Nope, that is a last resort. I mean, stocking up on your tins of peaches and stuff like that. A lot of people will, crack up in the tin and then put it in a jar and then reseal it that way too, as a last resort. Actually, I think last resort is like dried fruits.
Yeah, it's I know I can live on it comes from nuts.com. They have amazing organic mango.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very delicious. Sometimes the pieces are hard, sometimes a little sometimes softer, but you actually need to soak them anyway.
Yeah.
So if it all comes to it, the only thing is they don't call it raw because it hasn't, when they dried it, it's dried at a too high temperature,
Yeah.
which is, kind of sad, but it's there are still mangoes available, and having a dehydrator, yeah, you could still make your own.
Mm-hmm.
And I've considered that too, getting a freeze dryer. But those things are around $3,000, and you have it running day and night to build up, some food that can be used in the future. And the
Yeah.
taste is actually pretty good.
Yep. Monique lives in an area on farmers food.
Yeah, I figured she would.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, guys, I'm going to have visitors very soon here. So we're going to end our chat.
Yep. A wonderful show, and so happy everybody was in the chat today. Very much look forward to chatting with you all. And if anybody knows anything about rainwater or, using that for drinking of any sort, in my mind, what I've been kind of thinking about, I wanted to experiment with is get some rainwater, run it through the Berkey or the Alexa Pure, and then distill it and see. I don't know. What's anybody's thoughts on that? Maybe we can chat about that next show.
Yeah, I would do that, and but we need to be able to test it.
Yeah.
And but you run it through a distiller, it should all be good.
Yeah. Especially going through that. I mean, I know it's a process, but I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. I definitely,
Yeah, I would love to see these kind of discussions in the Garden of Eden group too, because
Mhm,
then it's accessible to so many more people.
yeah,
So that would be great.
definitely. Okay. Well, hope
Okay.
to hear from everybody soon.
Yeah, thank you for being here. I got some really nice surprises. Happy to see Monique here too, and everybody else, of course, and Juan. But I miss Monique,
Yes, glad everybody could make it.
my Dutch friends.
Well, much love
Yeah.
to everybody, and until,
Yeah, love to everybody until the next time, and have a wonderful week, enjoy
yes,
life.
yes.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
all. Bye-bye.